What's good, family? Welcome back to the channel. In this video right here, we have Lil Wayne. If you've seen this, you'll never sleep again. And now just looking at this thumbnail, it looks insane. Like, we have Lil Wayne's face, and it looks like people doing some satanic sacrifice or ritual, because we have the circle with the star in the middle. And I was told that in this video, we're going to learn more about how celebrities and artists happen to sell their souls through their record deals. So just sit tight. Let's get straight into this. Smash that like button, subscribe if you're new.
All of your favorite artists are finito and finished. I don't think none of these people are making any coin from the music business. I don't.
I agree with that.
The music game can be tough on artists, grabbing a big slice of the cash while the musicians get peanuts. These deals might look good initially, but they often tie artists down hard. Just look at Meek Mill, who says he doesn't make a dime from his tracks,
Meek Milky.
or TLC, who struggled with money despite their huge album sales. Lil Wayne once hinted at the hidden nightmares of the industry. If you've seen this, you'll never sleep again, revealing the often unseen struggles that can haunt artists. Why do so many dope artists get caught in these traps? Stick with us as we dig into more horrible truths about the thriving billion-dollar music business.
Definitely vanity.
Number 1. The true hidden cost of a record deal. Have you ever thought about what really goes on with record deals and labels? It's pretty shocking when you get into the details. People often talk about how the music industry can really take advantage of artists, almost like they're being robbed of what's rightfully theirs. This isn't just a wild idea I'm throwing out. It's a serious issue that's been discussed for a long time.
They started this back a half decade ago, maybe a decade ago.
Than I could have ever imagined. I'm with you. I think there's a focus on streaming, AI. I think there's a focus on just replacing you guys, the
Human
artists.
beings, right? Yeah.
The artists. They got, I think there's a focus on the world music.
Comparing the treatment of artists to being raped is a strong and disturbing metaphor, but it's used because the situation can be that harsh. Putting something negative out into the world isn't pleasant, but it's important to shed light on the truth. These contracts that artists sign can often leave them with very little, while the record labels get the lion's share of the profits.
Nah, literally, that's why NBA Youngboy, one of the biggest rappers out right now, he had posted on his story, Instagram story, he said, "Do not sign to Atlantic if you don't want to be a slave." He literally said that. And that's mostly because they have him working crazy numbers, and he knows that they're taking like the biggest percentage of his money. They'll give rappers these cars and chains and stuff like that, but they won't really give them wealth.
It's like the artists are bound by chains that look shiny on the outside, but are actually pretty tight and restrictive. So why do artists keep finding themselves in trouble with the record labels? Take someone like Meek Mill, a rapper who has made it big but claims he hasn't made money from his music. Or consider the group TLC, who made one of the greatest albums ever and sold millions of records, yet they couldn't even afford to pay $155,000 for a lawsuit. These stories are all too common and show a bigger problem that runs deep in the music business. The sad truth is that while the songs fill up stadiums and climb the charts, the artists behind them often struggle, feeling cheated and defeated by endless legal issues and confusing financial statements. The industry, like a cunning player in a game, knows all the rules and plays them expertly, leaving little chance for the artist to come out ahead. Some might say that these artists knew what they were getting into and that they had a choice. But what real choice is there when the gatekeepers of your dreams are the ones who know how to play the system to their advantage? This pattern of exploitation, followed by brief moments of success, is often hidden behind the glamour of award shows and gold records, a thin layer that hardly covers the underlying issues. Next time you listen to a popular song, think about the difficult path the artist had to take to bring that music to you. Behind the scenes, they might be fighting hard battles, crying in silence, and trying to keep up their strength in an industry that should have supported them better. Their stories are a warning to those who are just starting out in music, filled with hope, but cautious about entering the spotlight. Imagine you're a new rapper who just got signed by a big music company with a deal worth $4 million. It sounds amazing, right? All that money seems like it's going to change your life. But here's the thing. That money isn't really yours. It's kind of like borrowing a huge amount that you have to pay back, and the contract you sign to get it can be really confusing. Let's look at the group TLC as an example. They became super famous and sold over 10 million albums. You'd think they made a ton of money, right? Wrong. Each member of the group only got about $15,000, and they actually ended up owing money. Yes, they were in debt. Despite their fame, they couldn't afford anything fancier than a basic car, a RAV4, which is a pretty standard vehicle, not something you'd expect a superstar to drive. This huge difference between what people think artists earn and what they actually get is common in the music industry. It's a little secret that not many know about. When you sign a contract, you're not just getting money, you're agreeing to pay back every penny the company spends on you. They'll tell you, we're going to make you a star. But what that really means is, we're going to spend a lot of money on making you famous, which you will then owe us. Let's explain this further. The money your label spends isn't a gift. It's more like a loan. They pay for marketing, recording your music, producing it, and making those cool music videos.
That's exactly what it is.
But here's the catch. You have to pay all of that back before you see any real profit. You might dream of fancy cars and big houses, but many artists end up living a much more humble life. You hear about big checks and think you'll live the high life, but the reality can be a lot of debt and stress. You're sold the dream of fame and fortune, but you might end up with a nightmare of debts. The music industry looks glamorous, but it can be pretty tough on artists. It's set up in a way that can really...
They might even pull something off like this. Like, yeah, you signed a contract, we give you $1 million up front, boom, 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 and then we'll start pushing your music, bow, bow, bow. And the next thing you know, 3 years later, it's like, yeah, like, you're not making any money because you had to pay back that $1 million you got up front. So it's kind of like you're not making any money for the next 3 years. I don't know. I feel like if the loan is properly done, you could get a loan from a bank, honestly speaking, bro. But if the loan is properly done and you can make a way out, but it's just the fact that the industry is filled with demons that they're not looking for your best interest at all. So you have to really be on guard for everyone trying to snake you.
Really take advantage of them. When you get a deal, it's important to understand every part of your contract. Don't get caught up in the excitement without knowing what you're getting into. Remember the stories of those who found out the hard way. The music business doesn't just produce songs. It also produces cautionary tales of what can happen when you don't pay attention to the details. Always make sure you know what you're signing so your dreams of stardom don't turn into financial nightmares. Imagine entering into a deal that feels like you're borrowing money from someone who isn't very nice, but this time, that person is dressed up like a fancy business and calls itself a record company. They offer you $4 million to help you make your music album, which seems like a great help at first. However, when you sign your name on their contract, you might not realize just yet that this deal is going to tie you up in some tricky financial ways. But getting a record deal is just the beginning.
You good, Eric? Hey. No. You good. It's dope.
Number 2, trapped by a $4 million contract. This $4 million isn't just given to you. It's actually a loan, which means it's money that you'll have to pay back. From the moment you agree to this, every dollar you make from your music has to first go toward paying back this big loan. The record company, sitting comfortably because they're protected, makes sure they get back the money they gave you before you see any profit. When it's time to split any money left after paying back the loan, don't expect things to be split fairly. The idea of sharing the profits evenly, half and half, isn't going to happen. Instead, whatever money is left continues to be divided in a way that favors the record company. This ensures they always end up with more, leaving you, the artist, to collect much less. At the same time, famous people like Kerry Washington go on TV to say they're hosting shows like Saturday Night Live, with guests like Eminem.
Hi, I'm Kerry Washington, and I'm hosting Saturday Night Live this week with musical guest Eminem.
This is fun. Are you having fun?
Of course.
And Eminem, are you having fun?
Adding some sparkle to the whole music business.
Yeah.
They talk about how much fun they're having,
2 of us are having fun.
which contrasts sharply with the tough deals being made behind the scenes in the music industry. These public appearances, full of excitement and smiles, hide the harsh reality that many musicians face when they sign contracts that aren't in their best interest. It's an odd mix of fun on the surface and tough business dealings underneath. The music industry, acting like that not-so-nice lender, but in a much fancier outfit, keeps drawing in musicians with promises of fame and success. However, these promises often come with hidden costs that are buried deep within complicated contracts and cheerful public announcements. The advance you're about to receive seems like a huge amount of money, one that might trick you into thinking you've really made it. It's the kind of cash that might make you feel on top of the world, ready to show off to those who doubted you. You could be driving through your neighborhood in the newest, flashiest car, making everyone jealous,
This is
and
how they
feeling
sell
like
you.
you've just won big.
Literally.
I'm the proudest, most successful person around, you might say, feeling like you're making history in your own unique way. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement. Suddenly, you're wearing the most expensive clothes, surrounded by people who seem to admire you, all while you dismiss the struggles you faced to get here. You might even thank the big names in the industry who noticed you, feeling grateful and validated. At that moment, you might feel like nothing can touch you. However, this big amount of money isn't as great as it seems. It's actually more like a trap. Many people end up spending all this money on fancy clothes, jewelry, and other luxury items very quickly. They think these things will show everyone how successful they are, but all these purchases start to add up. You might think you're building up your image, but you're also digging yourself into a hole of debt. This is a common trick in the industry, to make you feel rich and successful while actually keeping you dependent on them. As you enjoy your new fame and the attention that comes with it, it's easy to miss how you're slowly getting more and more trapped by your spending. The industry sees another young talent they can profit from, another story of rags to riches that might not end well. You become a part of a show where you're both the main character and the audience, dazzled by your own story. But the real story, the one that involves your actual financial health, is hidden behind the glamorous scenes written in contract terms that aren't in your favor. They really do thank you for playing along because it keeps the show going. Look at this shiny new remote control. It looks like a black Lamborghini. It's not just any remote. It's designed to show off wealth, just like the black accessories I wear. A pink ring and 2 bracelets. I flaunt these things casually, and people can't help but be impressed. They stop and stare, constantly a mazid, share pictures on social media to look successful. They even help gig from it. As a rapper, this upfront money is meant to be paid back up in a big $3 million deal, which sounds great, right? But hold on. Right off the bat, you're down $1 million because that's what you owe your record label. Before you even get started, before any music is made, you're already in debt. Now it's time to start recording your album. The label sets you up in this fancy studio with all the best equipment. They say it's all for you, to help you make the best album possible. Next, let's see what recording is really like. Number 3. The strategic stranglehold of record labels. But here's the thing. Everything in that studio is super expensive. The label tells you it's all top-notch and necessary
And they
for
probably
your
own
music.
that studio too.
They hook you up with the most famous producers, the ones who charge a lot of money. Sure, these producers are good, but they're also eating up your budget fast. You might start to feel like you're not in charge of your own music. The label is making all these decisions about who you work with and where you record. On the Off the Record podcast, DJ Academics talks about how labels often control artists like this. They're not just trying to help. They're also trying to make sure they get a big return on their investment. They push you to spend more, which means you owe more. It's like being guided every step of the way. But this guidance comes with strings attached. You're not just making music, you're also constantly spending money on what the label says you need. This makes it tough for any artist to keep their own vision, and could even mess up how much money you make in the future. It's like you're paying twice, once with your creativity, and again with your freedom to make your own choices. Crafted the scheme were barely batting an eyelid as they neatly engineered a financial straitjacket around the aspiring rapper. The saga began under the guise of generosity, a whopping $2 million allocated for recording. Yet this ostensible act of largesse was nothing more than a golden handcuff,
crazy. That was a
expertly
whole
designed
trap.
to tether the artist tightly within the label's golden gates. The plan was deviously simple. Book a high-end studio for 6 months straight, each day's session draining the budget like a slow leak. The manager, realizing the rapid depleting of funds at this rate, he proposed a cunning counter-movie. Why bleed money on rental when they could build their own studio for a fraction of the cost? This suggestion, however, was quickly smothered by the label's ironclad stipulation. They would only sanction expenses for venues within their pre-approved list. The implication was clear. There would be no sidestepping into more economical alternatives. Thus, cornered by the label's strategic chokehold, the rapper and their team were coerced into settling for a mansion in the Hollywood Hills, a place that oozed luxury and excess as much as it did strategic fiscal drainage. At $3,500 a day, it was a lavish trap set under the pretense of creativity and freedom. The label's method was nothing short of Machiavellian, ensuring that every cent of the artist's budget flowed back into a circuit of facilities that were, one could argue, part of a grander design to maintain control and dependency. In this chess game of music production, the label held all the high-ranking pieces, moving the artist like a pawn across a board rigged with golden snares. This wasn't just about making music. It was about weaving.
See, you need to switch up the game. If you're a young artist, you need to switch it up, make your own contract, and give it to the label. Then now that's really if you have talent and you already know you can make money. You know what I'm saying? You need to make your own contract, give it to them. Because at the end of the day, they're going to try to play you. They've done it to almost every single artist that you see mainstream. They've played them. Not only financially, but morally too. Because these record label producers and vice presidents, they want that. They want that virgin hole. They want that second hole. They want your mouth. I'm telling, it is what it is. It's just the reality. They finna have you do some crazy immoral things. Take your whole conscience and your money. Yeah. Now you can understand why they call it R.A. rape. What they do to these artists right here. But look, we're gonna leave that video right here, man. If anyone's thinking about getting into the music industry, just be very, very, very cautious. Now we have a better insight as to how people are basically selling their life away when it comes to these deals, because they're putting themselves in major debt to the point where the label technically owns them until they pay it off, and then it's like just like this complete cycle, and then you don't really end up making any money at the end of the day. And that's only on the financial part of what goes on in the music industry. We're not even talking about the spiritual part and the moral part and things of that nature. So hope you guys did enjoy this video. Make sure you do smash the like button, subscribe, turn on post notifications. I'm gonna catch you guys in the next one the same way you're gonna catch me in the next one.